Hey, it's Jeff Sauer here, and in this behind the scenes video, I'm going to show you what it looks like on the back end of our online courses. Now, online courses have become a very important piece of the business here at Jeffalytics. And I thought it would be cool to take you behind the scenes so you can see the technology we use, how it looks for us, and just get an overall summary of the technology and the techniques we use to create our core product here at Jeffalytics. So this is the final behind the scenes look we're going to show you at the Jeffalytics operation, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you want more, make sure to leave a comment and maybe we'll revive this series at some point in the future. Let's go behind the scenes and take an inside look at our online courses. Now, before we get started, the first thing I want to say is that I built a custom system for our courses. Instead of using an off-the-shelf piece of software where I had little control, I used my development skills to put together a system that really works well for our needs. It works well for our students, and I think that's a big differentiating factor in our courses. So it's not just about the content, even though the content is top-notch and we really stand behind it. It's also about the user experience. We want to make sure that our students have the best experience possible. And it all starts with our base learning management system, which is called LearnDash. Now, if you've been following along in this challenge, you know that we've already left a review of LearnDash, and you can find that at jeffalytics.com/LearnDash-review. We really like how the system works and fits our needs, and we've already given you a comprehensive view inside of it, so make sure you check that out if you want to learn more about our learning management system. We also host our videos on Vimeo Pro, which we talked about in our last video where we did a review of Vimeo Pro as well. Now, the rest of the courses, they're held together with duct tape and elbow grease, but in a good way. I say that with a question mark because I think it's a good way. It does exactly what we need it to do. It has custom functionality. It stands apart from other courses that are on the market, but sometimes it can make us uneasy knowing that something is held together with duct tape. But either way, we love how the courses come together and our students love it as well. So let's get into what's happening behind the scenes with our course. First of all, we need to start with our course structure. Now, our course structure is that we have a course or a module, and within a course or a module, there's lessons, and then within each lesson, there are subtopics. And basically, a lesson is a complete thought about a certain topic. Whatever we're covering, anything from analytics to PPC to running your own agency. And then quizzes and assignments. This is how we keep track of people doing the work and make sure that they're learning something within the course. And so we have the ability to assign quizzes, and if you pass those quizzes, you can get a certificate of completion for the course. Each course has multiple lessons. As we just showed in that diagram, you can see here there's multiple lessons that go within each of the different courses we have or the different modules, depending on how we've structured the course. Now, we've started to rearrange the courses a little bit to make them easier. Instead of having really long 15 to 45-minute videos, we are splitting them up into multiple smaller videos that are easier to consume, and we call those topics, we call those sub-lessons within our major lessons of the course. So this is something that we are changing over time and adjusting to the feedback of our students. Within each lesson, there's a video. As you can see here, there's a video there. We have a write-up of each lesson as well, and these write-ups can be anywhere from 500 to 2,000 plus words, writing up what's inside of the video. We have a forum, and the forum is dedicated to the questions you might have about what we learned during that specific lesson that just came up. And we also do lesson reminders through email. We use Drip to handle this, and when somebody signs up, we send an email to them every single week, reminding them to go back into the course and keep track of their progress. Now, the reason why we do this, as you can probably imagine, is we want to keep students involved and enrolled in the courses so they don't drop off, because one of the biggest problems with online courses is people dropping off without completing it because they get sidetracked or they go focus on something else. So these lesson reminder emails are designed to keep people in the game while they're going through it. In addition to getting the course up and running, we also have student management capabilities. You can see how many people are enrolled in a certain course. You can see their progress, how far they are along, whether they're having troubles completing, how many people are completing, how many have not even started the course yet, who completed lessons very recently. And then as a student, you can see exactly how you're progressing through the course and keep track of all the lessons you've watched. You just check a box to say that you're done with something, you mark it as complete, and then you can move on to the next step. Now, once a student has gotten through a module or a course, we have the capability to test their knowledge. And the way that we do this is through quizzes. So we can add and update quiz questions on the back end, and then we can show them to the students. Here's an example of what the heck is bounce rate, and then I have several answers that are in there, And as part of the quiz, we expect you to answer this correctly based on the materials that you've learned within the analytics course. And we can actually see how people are progressing through the quiz. Now, I thought that I was creating a really easy quiz, but it turns out that most students don't pass on the first try. And I've come around to thinking that this is a good thing, because if a student doesn't pass on the first try, they get to go back, they get to do research, and they can start to understand why they didn't pass the quiz in the first place. And if you get a passing score and you complete all the assignments, we give you a certificate of completion that you can actually print out and say, hey, I completed the Jeffalytics Analytics course. And it turns out that building this process, students love it. Now, we have the ability to collect reviews for our courses. We did a video about this in our Tools of the Trade video as well. And people are coming in all the time and saying, hey, we love this course. Brina says here, I love everything about this course. The way it's set up is terrific because you always know where you are. It was well planned and laid out in a way that made it easy to learn and also interesting. I learned so much from Jeff, and his teaching manner is terrific. I've taken lots of courses over the years, but I have to say this is one of the very best. If you're considering it, do it. You won't regret it. Now, this is not meant to be a commercial for our courses, but it just makes me feel really good inside that students love the course. They enjoy the thoughtful structure we put into it, the site that we keep on trying to improve and trying to make better for them. They appreciate all the investments we make in their learning, and they're telling others to invest as well. That's really what makes us feel good. That's why we enjoy doing this. That's why we got into the business of creating online courses and developing products, because it's really awesome to see the progress. We love it, simply put. So here's some keys to being successful with online courses. 1, drip content slowly but surely to students. Build a community and answer your students' questions. Now, I got my start teaching in person in a classroom, and one of the great things about teaching in a classroom is that if somebody has a question, they can raise their hand and ask it right there on the spot, and we can give them an answer. That's not as easy with pre-recorded videos, and so we built this community, we built this forum where people can ask questions and get the answers they're looking for, and have it mimic what we see in the classroom. You can add quizzes and lesson progression so people always know where they are. You notice that from the review that Rena liked the course because she always knows where she is. Provide clear course navigation. Again, make sure people know where they are in the progress. Build a foundation of knowledge at the beginning. And don't act too advanced or condescend your students. Anybody who wants to learn is already in a vulnerable position because they're admitting that they don't know everything and they want to learn something. And so they don't want to start too advanced. They don't want somebody to condescend them. They just want to be in a safe environment where they can learn. And that's what we do inside of our courses. Relate all examples back to the real world. This is one of the biggest pieces of feedback I always get about my courses, is that instead of talking about theoretical examples or something that doesn't matter, it's always talking about how this relates back to the real world. And it's really important because that's where these strategies apply the most. Try and make learning fun instead of intimidating. I already touched on that a little bit. Learning should not be intimidating, not at all. Clarity over complexity. Sometimes people who are the teacher think that teaching means that they need to show everything. Nope, not at all. Being a good teacher means being relatable and telling people what they need to do. So actually the job of the teacher is to make things less complex, and we make sure that we do that in our courses as well. Take as long as you need to explain a concept. I often go on long with my explanations of things. It's a fault of mine, but also that's what makes me a good teacher. Because instead of just saying the answer, I talk about the story, I talk about the thought process that goes into finding that answer, and that's really what people learn from. In the real world, it's not a multiple choice quiz. We actually need answers, and those answers need to be nuanced. They need to be relatable to the world that we live in, and that's the reason why I take longer to explain things, because there is no right or wrong answer. It's the journey on how you get there. I also make sure to call back to previous lessons and talk about future nuggets, like talk about things we already learned or reiterate things back to things we're going to learn in the future. And finally, listen to your customer feedback. That is the best mechanism you have for making improvements and for being successful here. Listen to your customers, listen to what they need, and address those needs as much as you can. Finally, a question for you. Did you enjoy this preview of the back end of our courses? If you did, make sure you check out all the courses we have at jeffalytics.com/courses, where you can sign up and learn more about all of our courses.